Good evening and welcome to the FITT Show. I'm Bobby P. Kinzer.
And I'm Thomas Doty.
And we are the FITT Show, helping our people get their finances in shape. Welcome everybody around the country and around the world, especially in the United Kingdom who tunes in these late hours. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning there. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Yes, our show is about providing you financial information that you can use, news that you can share with your family, your friends, co-workers, and just just people who need to know how to actually manage their money to help them increase and protect them against some of the craziness that is out here so that you can be financially secure. That is our hopes. Now, we just have a few items that we like to administrative items, just to let you know, to give a disclaimer, we are not financial advisors. We do not provide advice, we provide information. We are financial educators, so we do not have fiduciary responsibility, and we like for you to seek advice from qualified financial advisors should you want to address any personal items dealing with your portfolio or your financial plan. And there's some great people out there. And if you need to know any, just put in the comment box and ask, and I'll put you into touch with one of the top financial advisors that I know, that is one of the great individuals, Lanta Evans-Mott, who is just a wonderful lady, and she's good should you need a financial advisor. So with that, also just like for you, please make sure you click on the like button and the heart button, because that's how we actually get more traction to more people based on, and you can't click on that button a lot. Each click counts as a separate click, so you can click away. We hope you do that. And the other thing we have is the comment box. Now this is important because this even increases and expands the algorithms even more. But not just for that, we want to make this interactive. We are in a virtual studio, but how we can make this interactive is by you putting comments in the comment box. If you have an opinion on something we're talking about or question something we're talking about, just use the comment box. Or if it's a topic you'd like for us to cover in a future show, please put it in the comment box. Or is it something you came by and some information and you just want to run it by us? If we have time, we will address it. So use that comment box, y'all, because that increases our viewership. So, Dote, how are you doing today? It is Thomas Doty's birthday, y'all. Yay! Hip hip hooray! I know I'm not going to tell your age because I know you're a young man, and you taught me it's not politically correct to be telling people ages, especially my sister's age. But Dope, you're looking good for your age, man.
Thank you, brother. I'm waiting for the rest of that line.
Birthday, man. This is your 31st anniversary of your 40th birthday.
I thought you weren't going to tell my birthday, man.
I didn't. Oh, did I? Oh, I didn't think people could do the math.
If you can do it, everybody else can do it.
Oh, that's messed. Now that is just messed up. But don't tell us how's your day been, man? I mean that's a lot.
Man, I got surprised by my grandkids who came down.
My
great daughter pulled them out of school and surprised me on my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of my birthday wish in my head, to spend the day with my grandkids, and that's what I ended up doing. So it's been a fantastic, good day. They surprised me and caught me off guard, and I just love them to death. They're fun to be around. Keep me young.
Well, that's a good thing, man. Appreciate you, bro. We go back. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude! I'm just thinking about that. How many years is that? I came to Penn State in
50 years, brother.
Is that? Oh, yeah, it's actually 50 years. Good God Almighty, man.
Yeah.
Wow, man. And I remember when I first saw you, man, up at the track at what's the name of the stadium?
Beaver Stadium.
Beaver Stadium, the Alphas, and then I played Alpha, and you were my Dean of Pledges. So we go back. Not that I went to school with you, not that I played ball with you. You were the captain on our team. Then you became a dean of pledges. And now here we are today, Dope, man. I really just want to tell you, man, I'm thankful to know you and thankful to spend all these years as your friend.
Same here, good brother.
Because,
It's been a good ride.
a lot of people can't say that. A lot of friends have fallen by the wayside.
That's the only thing we learned from Johnny Bach. He used to tell us that the guys you play ball with and sweat with, that you'll be friends for life. And he was right about that.
He was definitely right about that. And the days of other good brothers, Bruce Chase, may he rest in peace, birthday. So let's move to the top of the shows that kicks us off in such a wonderful and informative manner. It's the stock market. Now, Dope, you haven't been on a roll on your announcements about the stock market. So we're hoping the day will be different.
A good day today.
Thank God, Jesus.
The only problem is I can't tell you what it's going to be tomorrow because it's been up and down. This whole tariff thing has the market going crazy. It's been really, really wacky. Now you can see this week the S&P is up a couple percent. NASDAQ's up 3%, and Microsoft just blew it away. They announced earnings yesterday, and the bar was set low because everybody has been anticipating that the numbers were going to come in weak. Microsoft actually blew away the estimates, but more importantly, their cloud business showed tremendous growth. So that led to the stock going up, and most of that 38 is today. I think it went up 30. I believe it went up 30 just today. So a lot of that increase is due to actually today's activity. But the market has been recovering somewhat, as you can see, looking at what it's done over the past week. But Microsoft went up 30 points today. Apple's up, but I think it's going to give that back. They announced earnings after the bell went off today, and they kind of the numbers were okay. I mean, they had good earnings numbers, good revenue numbers, but the CEO gave an estimate of what he thought the tariffs would cost his company. And just in the second quarter of this year, he estimated it would be a $900 million charge in additional costs due to the tariffs. And you think about that, that's a lot of money. That's a whole lot of money just in tariff costs that isn't helping anybody, isn't more for me, more for you. It's just basically higher taxes because that's really what tariffs are. So I expect to see a big drop in Apple tomorrow. NVIDIA's up 6. I think it's going to see a drop too tomorrow, but it's there's some negative things going on there. Google's kind of struggling a little bit. They got all of these legal things going on and the possibility of having to break up their company. Pfizer went up $1. It's still hanging strong. Palantir, that's a very interesting one. It's been going like gangbusters. If you look at its increase just this year, it's up 53%, which is obviously better than anything on this page. And since January 17th of this year, Palantir stock has increased more than any other stock on the S&P 500. So that's some pretty rarefied air. So I'm hoping it continues to do this. I got in at 70, and now I'm up to 116. Still not thinking about selling. Think I'm going to hold on for a while. Don't think it'll do. It'll go up 10 times like NVIDIA did, but I'm expecting it to do okay. So the markets, until this whole tariff thing straightens itself out, because in one breath they say, oh, we're working on new deals with the countries, and then you have all these tariffs set to start in July. So no one really knows. He changes his mind. Last week he changed the automotive tariffs. I think it's basically there's a word I would use, and storm is the second word. But I just think things are a mess. I don't really think they know what they're doing, and that's just my humble opinion. And I think until an adult gets into the room and say, this is ridiculous, I think we're going to continue to do that, continue to have these gyrations in the stock market. So as we always say, you invest for the long term. You don't react to short term chaos, which is what we're having now. So we'll see how things shake out.
Yep. And we don't get into politics on this show, but there seems to be a trend shifting. There are a lot more protests and a lot more people are starting to speak out. And maybe when the people start speaking out, maybe then we can see some changes.
And that's what's been happening, because I think what happened when he first announced these tariffs and everybody started, even the folks he listened to, and the people who lost trillions of dollars has been lost because of these tariffs. And this is affecting everybody. It's not just affecting the U.S. This is affecting everybody in the world. And I believe the estimate was something like $10 trillion in market capitalization has disappeared because of this. And so even his cronies now are telling him, hey, you might want to take a look at this. And that's why you're seeing all these minor adjustments to this country and to that country and to certain industries. And I just don't think they know what they're doing. And I think it's going to continue to be a bad storm until an adult start making the decisions. And that's just my humble opinion.
And even Elon Musk's Tesla earnings had dropped 70%.
Yeah, some of that because people just can't stand that guy.
Yeah.
You got a foreigner basically running out.
But it's all because of this, though. That's why they can't stand him. At first, they didn't know nothing about him, really.
Well, they're mad about Dodge. That's what everybody's mad.
That's all this administration. That's all the same thing.
That's not related to the tariffs. That's just another area of craziness that's going on right now.
Yeah, as we say, another fly in the ointment.
Yep. Exactly.
But I think just like always, this too will pass. But like we always say, the name of the game is you make sure you prepare yourself and you do the things that you can do that is in your control.
And Bob, I want to say again, I'm no smarter than anybody else. I have a financial background, and that's definitely a plus. And everybody doesn't have my financial background. But if you get involved in the stock market and you really put some effort into picking stocks, you're going to hit some winners. I mean, you're going to hit some big winners. And the stocks I've owned have all done really, really well. And that's not to pat myself on the back. It's just that we've been through a huge bull market. And most anybody who was invested in the stock market has done well until all this happened. And so I think we just continue to encourage you to do the background work necessary to invest in the market, invest in stock, find something that you're comfortable with according to your risk level, and believe me, you'll hit some home runs. You're gonna strike out some, but not much if you really do your due diligence and really pick some good companies. It's I won't say it's an easy way to make money, but it's a way to make money just by doing some work and figuring out what stocks you think are going to have a nice run.
And the name of the game is have your money working for you. A job, compensation, you're working for your money, and that's fine. But in addition to that, it's called passive income. And let me make this clear. We're just not talking about investing in the stock market because that's just the topic we're talking about right at the top of the show. But if you listen to the show, we talk about total personal finance, personal money management. You need this other things that you should consider being in, like the bond market and treasuries. There's money markets. There's high yield savings accounts. There's CDs. So and then there's emergency funds. All of these things you need to be considering in times like this. So don't think we just pro stock market. That's just one of the spokes in the wheel, and that's what we're talking about now. So let's make that clear. But one of the easiest ways, if we can say that, two, and there's only a few ways that we do have really, you all, is the stock market. And that's why we're so pro stock market. So with that, though, I just want to mention the commodities, which we don't have up there, gold and silver, which we always talk about because they're usually a nice thing you have in your diversity of investments. And gold is still holding. Is at $3,246 an ounce. That's up definitely from a year ago considerably. And silver is up. So that's another investment that you can have in your toolbox that kind of works against, theoretically, against inflation and things like that. So another investment we talk about and we on the show is cryptocurrency. Now, the cryptocurrency market, we said, is very volatile. And if you've been following us, you can see that it has, but the market is really kicking. It is, up to over $3 trillion in the total market cap. That is amazing because it had gone all the way down to about 2 trillion and it's up. And the Bitcoin, which is the number one cryptocurrency, we normally just deal with the top 10 and really on the show, the top 6. The Bitcoin is up $8,686. Wait a minute, that's not right.
That's not right, no.
It's not right. I'm sorry. That didn't get changed. That's supposed to have been changed to $2,757. That's what it's supposed to be. Sorry. But I'm glad I saw that. So 2,757. Right. But it is 3%. And that's get out of there thing. Stick with me here, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get this straight. So yeah, it's interesting. It's a interesting tool, but it's up like the last 2 weeks, over $11,000 per Bitcoin in total in the last 2 weeks. So we want to talk about Tether, right? Because you look at Tether and it's been staying at $1 because it's a stable coin which is pegged to the dollar. But this is why you can't tell the movement of Tether because it's really based on volume. And then just to give you an idea, a week ago it's around about 40. The volume was about $41 billion, right? This week alone is 148 billion. That's how that particular cryptocurrency works by volume. Well, all of them works by volume, to be honest. But some exponentially grow faster than others. So if you're into cryptocurrency, these are some of the ones to look at. And remember, they all are highly volatile. And as we give the disclaimer, only invest money that you are willing to lose or can afford to lose.
Hey, but what do you think is driving it? What do you think is driving the Bitcoin up so much?
Well, the dollar is really going down. And it seems like the reason why cryptocurrency was created was to combat the dollar. Mm-hmm. So I think that could be possibly it because people are looking for other means other than the dollar. And it's interesting that, it's just up 3-4% across the board. And it's just hard to really tell. But that's what I think, though. I think the way it was created, because the dollar is definitely getting way weaker. And the cryptocurrency was always considered to combat the dollar. That's my best guess.
And I think you make a good point. And even the bonds, the dollar and the bonds are taking a killing because of the uncertainty in our overall market, in our overall way we're handling our business, because everybody used to feel the dollar was the basically stable coin in the world.
Right.
But with what's going on with tariffs, people are looking for other things to invest in other than the dollar. It's not what it used to be because of the craziness that's going on in Washington. So
and
we'll be crazy.
cryptocurrency is really based on a consumer sentiment right now, but it was created as another form of fiat currency to do transactions, but it was supposed to be taking the middleman out, like the Federal Reserve, right? Federal Reserve makes the monetary policies and sets, the interest rates. Cryptocurrency was to totally, go against that because it's decentralized. It's not centralized like the Federal Reserve, and that's supposed to be the benefit. So it doesn't surprise me that more people may be going that way, and as an alternative way to increase their wealth. So once again, we got our eyes on it. Keep your eyes open on it because nobody really knows, like you said, though, what in the world is going on in these markets. And I'm talking about some of the big people. And to be honest, though, some of these big time companies, big multi-financial advisors, they never were exact science. That's why they always say past performance is no indication of future performance as they're out. So the best you can do, and how it works with stocks, you all, and that's why I diversify. The more you have, and all of them may not do well, but usually there are some outliers. And if you were lucky to pick some of them, like NVIDIA in the earlier states, or Microsoft or Apple, in the earlier that you made out, because that's how it works. Companies take off like Nike. If you had gotten to Nike way back when it was just Converse, just think where you would be. So that's the key about that. So no, let's see. Modestine said we need to trust the process. The U.S. shouldn't have to pay more tariffs on our products, and foreign goods coming into our country pays very, very little tariffs. I believe it will all work out. Yeah, I'm with you, Modestine, but you can't be charging somebody 145% on their, and we depending on their products. And we're now a global system. It's not like America is the only place that you can go to. That we used to be, like Doe said, with the treasuries, and now we were the only place, right? The safe haven. But now there's other places in the world to go to, and it's called systematic system. We're no longer just isolated. So we'll see. We will really, really, really see how things will turn out. So though last week's show was called Financial Mistakes to Avoid. We hope that was helpful for people. If you missed it or want to recap, you can go out there on Facebook Live or YouTube and look into the archives and actually see the shows. Any shows that we've done up to a year. And now Facebook is now not holding the our shows anymore. They let them go after like about 30 days. So if you want to catch them, you need to go in there like maybe, like I said, 30 days now. They used to hold them there forever, but not anymore. So Doe, this week, y'all, we know we talked about tariffs before, and we didn't have as much information, but we have more information now. And today's show, we just want to talk about tariffs in your wallets. Tariffs in your wallet. And we got more information, and that's why we want to readdress this topic today. Because now, let's get into Doe. How is it going to be affecting people's wallets?
Yeah, and everybody's worried about what effect this is going to have on their wallet, and the fears aren't unfounded. They are definitely going to have an effect on your wallet. The companies are not going to absorb the cost of some of these sizable tariffs. So on July 8th, that 90-day reciprocal tariff pause, that's going to end, and potentially that's going to cause everything on your shopping list just about to surge. The price is going to go up. And some things more than others. Some of the adjustments have been made. Maybe some things won't be as bad as we originally thought. So we're going to talk about some of the current situations and try to give some consumer guidance on what kind of things you can look at, what kind of things you might want to consider buying now, what kind of things you might want to just kind of wait for. And we're going to try to hit some unique circumstances and give you an idea so you can make a good decision about what you should buy and what you should not buy given this crazy tariff situation that we have going on.
And once again, this is not in slate. This is just taking the best estimate of what's going on right now, as of now. This information, because like Note said on the top, this all can change with one decision, one way or another. But just to just give you a little, like, what they call the bellwether check, to tell the temperature and see which ways the winds are blowing, right? Because, though, I bet you didn't know this. A staggering 99% of shoes are sold in the United States are imported. Now, we used to have cobblers and shoemakers. 99% of shoes, according to the Footwear Distributors and Retailers of America, in their group that represents Nike, Steve Madden, Kohan, and other brands, more than 56% of shoes sold in the United States are made in China. And we hitting them with 145% tariffs. So the United States is also relying on China for toys and sporting equipment. Now, I didn't know this, such as football, soccer balls, and baseball. So the United States gets 75% of its imported toys and sports equipment from China. So you don't think that's going to be able to affect us? But while the proposed Trump tariffs would inevitably increase domestic production and manufacturing across these retail goods, that's a fact. But the result will be more costly to U.S. consumers. And that's one big factor to keep in mind as you plan your expenses for this year.
Yeah, but let's take a step back and talk about, because I having worked 41 years for a manufacturing company, I still remember when a lot of the manufacturing was moving to China, and it basically came down to the fact they could make it way cheaper than we could. And their labor costs are way cheaper than ours. And when you throw in some of the benefits, that's the added things you get. So you make a wage, and then you also get health insurance, savings plan, Social Security payments. That's called the benefit rate. And that I remember when I first started working, that number was like 25%. And now in some cases is up to 60% because of the healthcare costs and some of the other benefits you get. Wow. Well, China don't have that. They don't pay their people a lot of money, and they don't give them a lot of benefits. So they can basically manufacture everything way cheaper than we can. And so some of the talk about these tariffs is going to move manufacturing back here, but that's kind of impossible because one, it takes time to build manufacturing facilities. You just can't snap your finger and boom, you have a tennis shoe making manufacturer. It's just not going to happen that way. So that's kind of a little backdrop of how we got to where we are and why we depend on China for so much. And it's not just manufacturing. We used to have a credit facility in China, and our total pay to those people was something like $30,000. That's salary and benefits per person. And so you could basically hire 2 or 3 people in China for the cost of hiring one person here in the United States. So I'm not sure how we're going to expect to start manufacturing all that stuff over here, but that's a conversation for another day.
And the last time I saw, I know people, a lot of people want to wear Nike, but I don't know a lot of people want to make Nikes.
That's for sure. Or do roofing or gardening or all the other stuff that a lot of
how about that?
Immigrants do. But that, again, we're getting off subject. Let me focus here. So let's talk. What do you need to know about the tariffs? What exactly does that mean? So every time you look up, you see something about the tariffs. It's changing. This is going up. This is going down. This industry's changing. Well, here's what we know as of today. There's going to be a 10% tariff on most U.S. trading partners. Imports from China are currently subject to a tariff of 145%. Okay? So that means something that comes in here and costs $100 now, it's going to cost $245 when this takes effect. Okay? So, and it goes back to on April 9th, he ordered a 3-month pause. And that's where the market kind of reacted favorably on the higher reciprocal tariff rates for all trading partners except China. So while tariffs can cause imported product prices to rise, they can also impact the cost of domestically manufactured items because we often buy the raw materials that we need to make the stuff we manufacture from other countries. So think about it. 1/4 of steel used in American production gets imported. So additional tariffs levied on the material could make your next domestically produced appliance, automobile, a cutlery set way more expensive. I mean, crazy more expensive, especially if anything's done in China. So it's impossible to know exactly how the taxes on imported products and raw materials will impact your finances because you don't know what the company's going to absorb. You don't know what the companies selling it are going to pass on to you. And so right now, it's projected to cost the average American consumer about $3,800 annually because of the extra tariffs. And that's based on an annual household income of $75,000. So if you make $150,000, that number jumps up to $7,600. And again, that's where it gets kind of crazy because a lot of things you buy, I mean, they're going to go up in price, and it's going to be wild.
Yeah, that's true talk, though. Now, I want to talk about the products to buy before tariff prices go up, and what people are worried about is when people actually run and start spending money right now. You think is good for the economy, but no, they're really stocking up and they're going to then draw back. But in an effort to save money, many consumers plan to purchase foreign products, whether you know it or not, and it's before the tariffs expire, because the tariffs that he what's it called? The reciprocal tariffs that he postponed, they getting ready to go into effect in a few months. Now, some of the products that may get significantly, and like I said, this is not an exact, but this is just what they're projecting. Some of these more expensive products will get more expensive later this year. They include cars. Matter of fact, he just postponed the tariffs on automobiles just the other day. Now, first he said he wasn't going to do that, but and then all the products related to cars, like tires and brakes, because most brakes, believe it or not, in cars are made in China. Tech items like gaming systems, televisions, and computers. Oh, no question, appliances like washers, dryers, and refrigerators. And then home goods, like vacuums, mattresses, and furniture. These are all things that are majorly made outside of the United States. And then stuff like, and this affects, the people who are out there on the roads, carpenters, stuff, tools like drills, saws, and wrenches, clothing. That's the main one, by the way, though. They talked about that the tariffs are going to hit pretty hard because we get a lot of clothes are made in actually China and some of these other places they put the tariffs on, particularly jeans and brand name sneakers, specialty foods like coffee, spices, oils, chocolate. I hope y'all making a list of these things. These are the kind of things that might be going up. And me and Dope, we bought a bunch of toilet paper because we buy toilet paper all the time. But I ain't boned up on that because that could be tough when you go to swipe. The last one, it's high tariffs on cell phones and computers. And he just had paused that temporarily. However, prices for these items could soar once the reprieve ends.
I'm still recovering, man. Okay.
What? What? Is it something I said?
I love you, man.
What?
Okay.
Okay.
A lot of purchases you could possibly postpone. I mean, it's you could be tempted to run out and buy a whole lot of things, and and a lot of people bought iPhones. Apple sales actually jumped real crazy high because a lot of people were buying iPhones because a lot of them come from China, but they've moved a lot of that to India, and I think something's been negotiated there. But that's panic buying is never a good thing. That it never is. And so if you weren't planning to buy something, don't run out and buy stuff just out of fear. You know, you might be just better off keeping your money in a bank. So you start impulse buying or panic buying, you can end up spending over your budget. You can take on debt, and none of that's good. And plus, if you get to a point where it's like toilet paper, you start seeing the shelves empty, you can't buy it and you can't find it. And so that can cause prices to increase. That's a simple supply and demand situation. So don't overreact. If there's certain things that you need that you know you're going to buy in the short term, you might want to consider buying them. But don't run out buying stuff. Don't spend money. It's never good to spend money just haphazardly. So make sure you have a plan in what you do. And so the tariff landscape, it changes every day. I mean, it's so funny. I read about ways to influence Trump, and it was like 4 different things. One of them is to be the last person he talks to before he make a decision. Another is to flatter him. That's another way to get what you want. Another thing to tell him what he's doing is affecting his popularity. And the fourth one is I think it has something to do with financial contributions. But so the tariff landscape is going to change. I don't know how many times between now and when it's finally expected to take place. So again, if you're going to buy something that you plan on buying, you might want to go ahead and get it, but don't run out and buy things just in a panic. That's usually not a good way to do business.
No, though, I bet you this next one, a lot of people don't know. I didn't know this one, though. What happens to items ordered before the tariffs was imposed? And this is very significant, man. Tariffs are imposed on goods based on when those items enter the United States, not when they are ordered. So there are exceptions. However, goods loaded and in transit before April the 5th, right, and arriving by May 27th are exempt from the reciprocal tariffs. But goods that arrive after May 27th, will likely face new tariffs, even if they were ordered prior to April the 5th. I'm like, man, there's so many moving parts to this, man, and they just willy-nilly, it seems like there's no really plan or thinking of time frames and, you know, it's how they're going to affect people. But this is like pretty interesting. It's not based on when you order it. It's based on when they enter into the United States. And you know how production goes, though. You could have ordered something, several months ago, but if it doesn't get here until after, the reciprocals, you think you clear, and it could be way, 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 way higher price.
Yeah, and let's talk about a few things you can do to save money. And really during this tariff uncertainty, but all just basic common sense. But more directly related to this tariff things, obviously, if you're buying something that's domestically produced, it's probably not going to be affected by the tariffs. It's going to be, the price shouldn't change. But that was kind of obvious. What else you can do? You can, especially for big items, you can consider repairing instead of replacing. You're talking about cars or appliances, realizing that some parts may be more expensive, whether it's for your car or for appliance, but it still will be cheaper than replacing the whole item. It's really important, more important now than it's ever been, is comparing prices across retailers. If you look at Amazon, look at Walmart, look at Costco, all of those are in competition with each other, and a lot of items, they compete on price. So make sure you compare and that you're getting the best price that you can find. You also might want to consider buying used, whether it's electronics, furniture. Some people buy gently used clothes But I remember we were gonna get my son some used soccer shoes. He had to be like 8 years old, and so his, he know what an 8-year-old knew. But his one comment was, "Well, suppose they had stinky feet." that just, and he wasn't trying to be funny or cute, but he was like, "Get me used shoes. What if their feet stink?" But so I won't say clothes. I'll just say, consider used electronics and furniture. Choosing store brand is always cheaper. And my kids used to pick on me about buying Kirkland products. And I used to explain to them, Kirkland doesn't manufacture anything.
Right.
So many of the things they sell, they are produced by the company that makes the famous brand or the national brand.
Right.
The boxes sometimes even look very similar, but more often than not, the products are the same. So you're not paying the advertising, you're not paying for the overhead when you buy store brand goods. I've always used coupons, whether physical or digital. That's something I've done all my life, just out of habit, and I will continue to do that. Look at money saving or budgeting apps to help you earn rewards. And finally, signing up for store loyalty programs is also helpful. And that's because you find out about deals. Sometimes they give you special coupons. Sometimes they give you special prices. But all those little things can help you kind of keep your wits about you doing all this tariff uncertainty.
Yeah. Another one, though, is, and we've talked about this on other shows, and it's even more pertinent now, to shop with credit reward cards. Because, once you shop with credit reward card, you can earn points or cash back. I sort of like the cash back more than the points, but that's my personal choice. And remember, it's tax-free money. Now, some card features a higher reward rate, say that twice, when you use them in certain places like a supermarket or office supply store. Now, others offer a steady return on all purchases, but the key on that is you must pay the bill off full every month, or it doesn't work to your advantage if you're getting a 3% cash back and you're getting charged with 21% interest. That's ludicrous. But pay that bill off every month, and that can really, really help with these products. And because, like I say, the tariffs, you all, because I saw most things she was saying that we're charging, they're saying it's a total of we're going from about $80 billion worth of tariffs to about $718 billion, and that's what we're charging. But the key is, it looks like we're not paying. It looks like the people who bring the products in, but it's then turned around and baked into the cost of the product, so we still end up paying.
And Bob, we've been talking about this since we've been doing the show, how beneficial they can be for reward cards can be. I would estimate, I would guess the number is probably at least $3,500 a year I'm making rewards. What you smiling about?
I'm looking at Niall's comment about the shoes. She called them pre-loved items. That's what made me like it. I never heard it put like that.
Hey, whatever works. But with the reward cards, it just doesn't make sense not to do it, to find out where you can maximize your return when you buy something. I mean, I always used to tell my kids that was one of the basic things in life is to make the layups. And that's my basketball analogy. Right. Always make the layups. You got to make the layups. And using reward cards to me is a layup. Somebody's paying you to buy something, and I use reward. I get between 3 and 5% on all the different cards I use. 5% is Amazon and Whole Foods. Costco gas is 4%, and my card I use for everything else is 3%. But I also use the American card when I travel or the Hilton card when I travel because the rewards are multiplied. But that's just free money. That's money that you get just for buying something. So I don't know why. Again, that's a layup to me. So I would definitely strongly recommend that you maximize your usage of reward cards, not to build up balances on your account. Don't buy things just to get rewards. The goal is to maximize what you spend, not to buy more to get more rewards. Don't fall into that trap. But make sure you're maximizing when you use your credit card. And that's how I look at it. Somebody pays me for everything I buy, every single thing I buy. In some cases, it's like my property tax. I think they charge, I want to say 2.1% for using a credit card, but I get 3% back. So I make 0.9% on my property taxes. I had a guy come by and do some work, and it was like a $6,000 job, and he made the mistake of sending me a bill that had an opportunity to use a credit card. And so I paid a $6,000 bill with my 3% cashback card. That's $180 I get for basically doing nothing. So, I mean, really, that's $180 in my pocket that had I sent a check would have cost me 50 cents or whatever a check costs versus getting $180 back. So try to find a way to maximize that. And again, not to build up debt. You definitely don't want debt, but you do want to make sure you're maximizing those reward cards.
Yeah, take advantage of the advantages that are out there for us. It's not like we have that many. You know what I mean?
The layups.
And the name of the game is you all, like I said, it's not too many benefits that we get as individuals, but when we get them, you got to take them because that's the name of the game. It's not, don't let your money control you. You control your money. And so, just remember that, times of economic uncertainty, you should double down on personal finance basis. If you stick to your budget, reduce essential spending, beef up your emergency fund, pay down debt, and as we always say, keep investing if possible, you'll likely come out of this situation all right. And believe it or not, you can possibly come out ahead. Yes, I want to be. Garnett said, I want to be like Dodie when I grow up. Go ahead, Garnett. I hear you. Me too.
Hey,
all my life.
You gotta take the bad stuff too, so you don't know the bad.
Yeah, but that's okay. She's right. You've been my big brother. I've been following you all my life. You ain't been wrong. And just remember this: there's never the right time to be wrong, and there's never the wrong time to be right. Follow that, though. And that's not the quote of the day, by the way. Hey, Dope. I know you're going to get on me, man. But I gotta show this. I just found this interesting. And this just sums up when Dope was talking about, stuff being made in one place and then another. But check this out. This would I just want to share. This is what people don't understand. Look at this right here, how the whole car industry supply chain works. The powder aluminum is sent from Tennessee to Pennsylvania, and they turn it into rods. Pennsylvania then imports it to Canada, and Canada rods shaped and polished in Canada. Then they send it and import it into Mexico, sent directly to Mexico, where Mexico does assembly into pistons, and then they import it back to Michigan, and the pistons become part of the engine in Michigan. So figure all these tariffs going back and forth. This is the stuff that we're dealing with, man. It's like, I just thought this was an interesting how it works, how these tariffs, it's not just we totally exclusive, from one another. I mean, all these things, supply chain is dependent on other people doing their part. So with that, you don't use too many.
Yeah, I'd hate to be an accountant trying to keep track of that. That's for sure.
Can you? But no, but you did though when you were working for
Yeah, but we
PPG.
didn't have anything. We didn't have anything like that. It
Not,
wasn't that complicated.
right,
But
right.
it is crazy, and you got some like BMW, which that's kind of my favorite car, but they make a lot of their SUVs here, but a lot of their cars are made in Europe, and so it's going to be a mismatch for cars, appliance. This thing is just going to be crazy for a while. It really is.
Yeah, yeah. Modus thing say you don't see too many men using coupons.
Hey, it's like I take pride in my cheapness. I really do. It don't bother me at all. It becomes like a game to me to see how little I can pay for something. I mean, I'm comparing price. I'm in a store. If I'm in Costco, I'm seeing what it costs in Amazon. It's like CVS. I only go there when they send me a 40% off coupon, and even then, that usually just gets it to reasonable. But I just enjoy that. That's a quirk that I have of trying to see how little I can pay, how little I can spend, and how much I can save. That I kind of enjoy it.
But you know what's so interesting about you, Thomas Doty? You're tighter than 10 toes in a sock, or 10 socks on a toe, however you want to look at it. But yet you spend money.
Oh yeah.
On what you want to spend, like on cars, you definitely spend money on trips.
Yeah.
But you're able to do that because you are, spend conscious. So
yeah, and that's the thing. I try to buy what I like to buy. I buy. Like if I travel, if first class ain't too expensive, I'll pay for that. A lot of people might see that as a waste of money, but I always at least pay for the extra leg room. And I'm sure you do too, because of our height, and you're taller than me. So. Yeah. So there are certain things I pay for, but other things I can be cheap on, and it doesn't bother me,
And these are no better times than any, though, with so uncertainties, and that's why last week we talked about the financial mistakes that we make, especially in times like today. Because I'm telling you all, we don't know what's going to happen, but if it happens the way they are saying, prices are going to go up, and you need to bone up, expand your emergency fund, and plus you should keep some extra cash in the house. That we talked about that before, because I think the prices are going to go up according to what
prices are going to go up. I don't think anybody would argue with that.
Right.
And it's like. It has to. They're not going to be absorbing. Companies aren't going to be absorbing those crazy costs. They're just not. So, and it's so funny. Again, not a political show, but it's just comical that Trump posted something yesterday about this isn't
right
his job market. This is Joe Biden's job
right
market. But back in January, when the market was rolling, he said the market was rolling because everybody was anticipating him being in charge. So
right. Well, we know he's a grifter.
It's just kind of funny to me that it's not his market now, but it was his market in January. That's the same guy said both of those.
Right. So yeah, right.
Go figure that one out.
You might say anything. I hear you now. I leave it as that. So
what?
She said, yes, we are. Poor thing that you have to go through that. I'm sorry. I pity you. So anyway, let's go into the summary and takeaways for today's show. Let's get there and do our thing. I think I'm first, Dope. You like that presentation there, Dope?
That's pretty cool. You're pretty amazing with these PowerPoint stuff.
I'm trying, man. Trying to try to show old guy got some skills. Oh, Dope, first one. Now, we talked about this earlier. Another fly in the ointment. And what this means, you all, the tariffs is just another thing to consider. I mean, you got the geopolitical things going on with Ukraine, Russia, the Houthis, Israel, the Palestinians, natural disasters, fires in, California, tsunamis, pandemics. This is just something else to consider. So don't panic, just prepare. My good friend, me and Dote's good friend, Kevin Cato's favorite saying was, I will prepare. So when my time comes, I will be ready.
Oh, yeah. And be strategic in your purchases. Again, if there's something that you're going to buy shortly and you can buy it now, maybe avoid an increase in the cost due to tariffs, go ahead and do it. But be strategic in your spending, have a plan, and don't panic. Don't buy just to be buying.
The next one you should be doing anyway, but even more now, review your spending habits, right? You review your spending plan, which what we call a budget. But really, really think about the places that you can receive some benefits of saving. Because I'm telling you, and it's not the big ones. It's not the $500, the $1,000. It's those $10, $20, $50 little ones that add up, and you'd be surprised how much you end up spending. So really, really review those spending habits, and let's cut back and increase your emergency fund. It's important because the things are going to be costing a lot more.
Yeah, and uncertain times requires a solid financial plan. And really, it just becomes much more important to have a solid financial plan when things are bad, because if you don't, you get further behind. Not just get behind from the crisis that you're going through, but not having a good plan is going to make everything even worse. And as Bob mentioned earlier, make sure you're covering the basics. Have a budget, have a plan, try to stick to your budget. Don't spend money just to spend money. Try to not to buy anything you don't need to buy during these crazy times. If you can, put some more money into your emergency fund and try to get out of debt. I encourage everybody to try to get their debt down as much as possible and stop paying the crazy fees on overdrawn accounts and interest. Those things you can eliminate. And finally, if you can put some money away to invest, try to do that. Understand your risk level, get some money invested, and try to be able to make money. So when you wake up from one day to the next, you have more money than you did the day before. And that comes from passive income. Try to find a way to do that. So you want to do it every day, but it's real important to have a plan when these times are crazy like they are now.
Yes. So with that, I'd like to go to our shout outs. This is our 196th show. Am I right, though? Is that right? 196 shows, you all. We've been rolling, and we'd like to thank you all, and we'd like to do our shout out just to show our appreciation. And we're going to start off in Lexington, South Carolina. Hello, Modestine, Joanne Skinner. And let me see. Oh, all three of my sisters are on today. Am I right? Yes. Hey, Gloria, Nolia, and Linda. And matter of fact, though, they are taking me out tomorrow. It's a pre-birthday luncheon for their little brother.
If you're the youngest, right? Both you and I are the youngest, right?
Yes, I'm the seventh. Which one?
So am I. We both are the seventh.
I forgot about that, to be honest. Yeah, I'm the youngest. So my three wonderful sisters, I love y'all so much. They're so great. Look, let me tell you, there's some amazing women, though. The things that they have come through as being, single.
Being your big brother? I mean, having you for a little brother.
Wait a minute, watch that. What are you trying to?
That's hazardous duty pay. They should get hazardous duty pay for that, man.
No. But let me tell you, they have been for a long time single parents, and then Linda married Harold, and Harold loved them to death, and now Harold is gone, and Linda's still back to being a single parent, and the three of them are awesome, man. What they deal with their kids are just phenomenal. I cannot hold them up high enough.
You've always spoke so highly of your sisters.
Yeah, man, because they always took care of my little butt, even when I peed in the bed.
You said little. we know better.
You got why people always think I got jokes on the show. You know what I mean? You be throwing them in there. Hey, Deborah Doty, what's up, Debbie? DD, what's up, DD? And then we got who we got also on here? We got Teresa. Am I pronouncing it right?
Mom with the twins.
With the twins. What's up, Teresa? And wait a minute. Teresa has the business, right?
Yeah, she got one doggy daycare center. She's getting ready to open up a second. She's like one of those I'm every women. She got real estate. She got businesses.
So is that
agency?
She has a doggy business. Is that men or dogs? No, you gotta ask that thing nowadays.
No, it's dogs. She takes care of dogs.
Okay,
she boards dogs.
And look, our newfound friend, Mo Better. What's up, Mo Better? I'm talking about, you know what, Mo Better? You just Mo Better. Or, and your name works both ways. You're Mo Better or you Better Mo. I don't know which way to say it. But, oh, yeah, this is great stuff. Now, what's up? Thank you for being on. And we really appreciate everybody for being on. And we're going to show 196 next week. Dope.
97 next week.
97 next week. And wait a minute, is this week? No, this week, ladies and gentlemen, for all y'all people in the area, I'm having a book signing at Barnes & Noble. Is having a book signing for me and a couple of other authors at Barnes & Noble at the Bowie Town Center in Bowie, Maryland. So if y'all come out, it's from 3 to 5 p.m. Come check out the big boss. I got some books, and for all people who have books who want them signed, that's the place to come, and I definitely will graciously sign your books and appreciate the support. So with that, though, I'm going to end with the quote of the day. It is much better to be the king in the outhouse than to be a monkey in the palace.
I got to think about that one for a minute.
Let that resonate with you, ladies and gentlemen. It's much better to be the king in the outhouse than a monkey in the palace. With that, not every day I get to stump you. All right, you all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and we see you next week. And have a great weekend.